some GamerGate supporters believe that pressuring advertisers to pull out would be a good way to convince gaming publications to initiate ethical reforms. What did you think of this strategy?
Um, it can be. Um, I suppose it just is notable that sort of capitulation to sort of like concerns of sort of reactionary movements can be itself potentially bad. So if there's something to be there, this is a whole discussion again with like should the journalists like add reforms? It's like maybe, but the way you do that is sort of complicated and sort of priority. Since I think reactionary politics is bad, I believe that the stance against those takes priority.
Do you think that by going after the money of the allegedly corrupt gaming websites, that the GamerGate supporters made it more likely or less likely that the publications would be willing to initiate reforms? Actually, I worded that so weird. Do you think that by hurting their pocketbooks,
Hmm.
that GamerGate made it more oppositional, and they were made
Probably.
it less willing or more made them more? Ah, I cannot talk. Okay. Um, okay. Do you think by hurting their pocketbooks, GamerGate supporters who engaged in the campaigns, which wasn't everybody, that they made it more or less likely that they would come to the table?
Well, probably less likely, but again, with that sort of like Linus Tech Tips thing, like because Linus Tech Tips and Gamers Nexus are still on good terms, sort of because of the measured and sort of careful way Gamers Nexus did what they did, and doing that and successfully sort of maintaining that relationship is hard to pull off, and it is a fallible action. So it's very easy to perform or call it in a way that makes reconciliation challenging.
I've asked GamerGate people this question, and a lot of them say no. They say that either one, they weren't going to come to the table unless we cost them money, which is all they care about because they're companies. Or two, they would say something like, well, they weren't coming to the table before we started the campaigns. So
Um,
what that was unlikely to change if we did nothing.
I guess just, yeah, it's not that nothing ought to be done, but the way it ought to be done is complicated. I can't really say the way it should be done with the Linus Tech Tips thing. Like the money of LTT was never really at stake. Rather, it was this call out video was done in a like very particular way that like had a lot of legitimacy. So if you can do it that way, it might work out. What that way looks like, I guess I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Maybe I'm not the best person to invent that, but I feel there is a way to go about it.
Do you think that Gamergate supporters mostly supported email campaigns over ethical breaches, either real or perceived, or for other reasons?
Um, Probably mostly for hmm, probably just mostly for just the basic tribalism of it all, where like everyone's going to go after this one publication because they don't like Gamergate, and so everyone's like, yeah, we'll do that. That sounds great. Um, Especially again that my primary concern with Gamergate happened in the very beginning of it, in which case a lot of that was mostly just a lot of tribalism, where we established our Gamergate, now we're going to look at who is against us and we're going to go after them. And then that was mostly what that first initial period of all of that was. And that's probably also what got a lot of the most um, engagement because like everything was like at its peak, like right when it was like peaking. And later things sort of like got a little more complicated, and I would imagine like getting the same amounts of people participating in the thing sort of petered off after a while. But um, definitely at the beginning, like I feel like that was participating in that probably just more like tribalism, just being on your side versus the other side.
Thank you for watching another Gamergate book video segment. For 30 days, starting on December 9th, I'm running a Kickstarter campaign for this project, so please back the campaign. for the people of GamerGate on Kickstarter or at gamergatebook.com. This project investigating and documenting the history of GamerGate from a variety of perspectives requires your support, and I appreciate it. Thank you.